Okay, we are live. Hello. Thank you for joining us, everyone. My name is Stacy Nell. I'm the Executive Director of the Kansas African American Affairs Commission, and this is our weekly Lunch and Learn Facebook live stream. And today I am thrilled again with the sirens. This happened last month, where it's like there's sirens in the background. So if you can hear they're testing the sirens. I apologize for the background noise. So as I was saying, I am happy to be joined today by Rhonda Harris. She is the Director of the Office of Minority and Women Business Development in the Kansas Department of Commerce. I want to read just a little bit about her. She has served in this role for the last 22 years, with a total of 36 years with the state of Kansas. She currently serves on several committees and boards related to women and minority business development efforts, and was recently selected to serve as a charter member of the Diversity and Equity Inclusion Advisory Board for Network Kansas. She also recently was named the Distinguished Mentor Honoree at the 7th Annual Women of Influence Award here in Topeka. So I am thrilled that you made time today to join us. Director Harris, thank you so much for coming on. And the first question that I always ask everyone that comes on, since this is a lunch and learn, what are you having for lunch?
What am I having for lunch? You know what? My go-to is probably my chicken Alfredo, just because it's quick and easy, but I won't be eating until after this meeting.
Yeah, I hear you. And I actually ate ahead of time because my stomach was kind of growling. And so instead of hearing the sirens, I'm like, oh, they're going to hear my stomach. So it was just pasta with broccoli, something,
Yeah, something quick and easy. But you
something
know
simple.
what? Always snack before lunch. So, I have my grapes and crackers. So I do that as well.
There you go. There you go. Well, I do appreciate you taking time today to talk to us. And I was really looking forward to having you on because I've sort of been wading into the question of economic development for the Black community here in Kansas. And I have recently come to find out that you probably no, I was going to say something that might have gotten me in trouble. You know a lot. You know a lot more than some people who you would think would know a lot. You actually know what's going on. So I was like, I need to get to the source. I need to get to the person who's the most knowledgeable. And so I wanted to bring you on. Now you've been in this position for 22 years. One of the things I also want to do is ask, how did you come to this work? Like, how did you arrive at the Department of Commerce? What was
Right.
your background leading up to this?
Right. You know what? That's kind of interesting. And with most people, life happens and you end up in a position that you didn't even dream of. And so that happened here as well. Um, I actually have my bachelor's degree in, believe it or not, psychology and sociology, with the intent of going into family counseling. But after I got my degree, I decided, you know what? I don't want to do this. And I said, okay, now I spent 4 years in college. What am I going to do with this? But I knew I wanted to go on to my master's, and I had make this kind of short, but I had written a paper on the psychological effects of unemployment. And this is when I was a student at Emporia State, no, at Baker University. And I went to a paper writing competition, and I read that paper during this competition, and I actually won. And at that same paper writing competition, there was a professor from Emporia State University who happened to be the dean of the industrial psychology program. And so she approached me afterwards and she said, "Oh, I really enjoyed your paper," and just asked me about what my plans were. And I told her, I'm getting ready to graduate with my bachelor's degree. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I want to go on to get my master's, but I'm trying to figure out what can I do because I still want to use the psychology and sociology aspect of it. She said, "Great, we have the perfect program for you. Industrial psychology, business, emphasis with business." And I'm like, "What? That sounds great. So you can still use your psychology background." So I ended up going to Emporia State and got my master's in industrial psychology with emphasis in business.
So this was not on my list of questions to ask you, but the idea of industrial psychology, those are
Yeah.
not two words I normally
No.
put together. So what what even is that? I mean, because there might be people out in the audience who have kids in college who are like,
What?
industrial psychology is a thing. This might be okay.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty interesting. There really isn't a whole lot of schools that even have this subject matter anymore, but it really is, studying the human behavior, but in a business environment.
Hmm.
So people typically use this degree, and they would go into like human resources, maybe employee assistance program,
Hmm.
recruitment training, psychological evaluations. I mean, you name it. You could just do about anything with this degree, but very interesting field. But I went ahead and did that. And once I graduated with that degree, I ended up working at Emporia State University in what they called then was a cooperative education program. And it was a program where students would get an internship, but they got paid and they also got graded for that internship. And so I did that for a number of years. And then I moved here to Topeka, and I ended up working with the Department of Administration, actually, in their recruitment and employment office. And then I moved on to their training department. And when I was in training, that's when I actually ended up being recruited over to Commerce because I was going to come over and start a training program for them. Um, that didn't happen, but I had already switched over to Commerce. But once I came over, they created a new program within the Office of Minority and Women Business Development and asked me if I would be interested in taking that. And I sure, why not? And so I actually worked under Tony Augusto was my supervisor at that time. So I worked under him for about 7 years and actually started the certification program, which I know we're going to talk about later, but I helped start the certification program for Commerce. And after he retired, I just moved up the ranks. So here I am, and I've been doing it ever since. And never thought I would be in this position, but like I said, life happens
Yeah.
and you end up where you're supposed to be. That's what I truly believe. So here I am, and I
I
love
tell
it.
I tell myself that when I wake up in the morning and go, is this really my job? I'm
Yeah,
like, am
yeah,
I in
yeah.
here? So there was the Department of Minority and Women Business Development is a department that's been around for a while. So
Yes.
you said you worked there for a while and then moved up to the ranks to take it over. So
Mhm.
now, for people who might be watching who don't know that this department exists or what the department does, can you talk to us a little bit about the name is kind of self-evident, but a
Right.
little more about what the department does.
Right, right. So what we do is we do serve as a resource, referrals resource. We are a small office, so there's only two of us in this particular department, and so we service the entire state. That's another thing people should
Hmm.
know. And so we basically will field questions that business owners would have in terms of, they're starting a business. Where do I go? What do I do? Who do I talk to? What kind of license is required? How can I get help with the business plan? So we're fielding those questions, but we're referring them to the resources that are in their area. So someone from Garden City could call, and then I'm going to look for the resources in their area to help them with whatever questions that they have. But most of the time, the questions are pretty general. People just need to know where to start.
Right.
And so that's where we help them out. Of course, we try to keep up on all the resources that are out there. So we're making referrals to like the small business development centers, the small business administration, the procurement technical assistance center, Network Kansas. So, and then, we just try to connect them with whatever resources that they need so that they can move forward in building or expanding their business. So that's one thing that we do. And the other thing that we do, of course, we do the certification, which I'll talk about here
Hmm.
shortly. And then we also have a directory, an online directory of our certified businesses. And then I forgot to mention to you this earlier that we have a minority women business spotlight. So businesses can be spotlighted on our website. It's easy as just answering questions and uploading photos, and it's free. And we try to do this monthly. We got off track during the pandemic, but we're trying to get back on track. So if businesses go to our website, like I said, answer a few questions, upload pictures, and they could be spotlighted. It's free. There's no charge for it, and you don't have to be certified to get the spotlight. But it's just a great way for businesses to promote their business product or service. Let people know what they do and that they're out there.
I
And
was
so,
on your guys' website earlier today,
mhm,
and saw that business spotlight. So if Sierra, if you could drop in the chat the link for, because we have the link ready for the actual
mhm,
website. If you go to Department of Commerce, you can sort of follow the trail to get to it, but we have the link for the website.
yeah,
So Sierra, if you could drop, my intern is in the ether following along the site for the department. We'll drop that in. You can see what she's talking
yeah,
about the minority spotlight.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay. And so here's often this question when I've been thinking a lot about minority businesses, and I'm new to the game of eco devo. Like, in
Mhm,
fact, I love saying eco devo. It makes I feel very smart when I talk about eco devo, economic development. So
mhm,
there's the question. Businesses exist on a lot of different scales, right? We've been talking a lot
yeah,
about, in some of the meetings that you and I have been in, these large scale projects for building or construction, people who are in those large trades. But then there is this different question. Let's say Stacey Nell, when she finally is done with politics, decides to open a yoga studio.
mhm,
And that would, to my mind, truly would be like a small business, like, one person wants to do something. What might be a first step? Would the first thing I should do is maybe to contact your office, especially being a minority woman, to contact
mhm.
your office and say, okay, I'm in Olathe. I'd like to open a yoga studio. So what might a person's steps be?
Yeah. The first thing I would recommend is contacting the Small Business Development Center in your area. So that would be the center there is the Johnson County Community College, and they have the Small Business Development Center there, and they can start you from A to Z. They can help you with all of your paperwork, get everything started. Um, a lot of times, what traps people is not putting together a business plan. They
Mm,
can help you put together a business plan. And these services are free. And so sometimes I don't know that a lot of women in minority businesses know that. They may think there's a cost to this, but these small business development centers can help, and they're there to help, and it's a free service. Now, sometimes they may offer different workshops or classes. Now, those may there may be a fee for that, but basically, their services are free just for counseling and consulting. So definitely would connect you with the Small Business Development Center so that you can get things going.
do the large counties have those, like Wyandotte and Sedgwick? Do large county,
Yes.
is it more regional?
Some of it is regional, just kind of depends on where you're located at.
Mhm.
But yeah, Johnson County has so many counties that they're responsible for.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then the next closest one, I believe, is in Lawrence. And so they're responsible for so many counties. And so there's about 12 centers located across the state. Yes, there's quite a
Okay.
few. Yeah, 12 of them. And then they also have some satellite offices in addition to those 12. And so definitely, we can get that information out to businesses, but that would be my first start for any business. Contact your small business development center.
That
Yes.
is that is good to know, because I know there are a lot of people. I know there are a lot of people who think in the back of their brain, "Gosh, it would be nice to work for myself someday, or
Yeah.
open up a business, or start a business." But the idea of starting a business can feel very overwhelming. And so I love what you said, to remind it that these helping tools are free.
Yes.
Because even when you said it to me, I thought, "Ooh, I wonder how much that would cost." So it's
Right.
good to know that these tools are free. Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, so now we've sort of hinted at certification. So
Yes.
let's take some time to talk about the certification process. What is certification, and why is it important?
Yes. Certification is basically a process that businesses go through to verify that they are a legitimate woman owned, minority owned business. And some people are surprised about that. Because they think, well, I am a woman or I am a minority, and this is my business, so I should just be automatically presumed to be, woman owned or minority owned. But for the certification program, the verification is required because there are entities out there. When I say entities, I'm talking about government agencies. So it could be federal, it could be county, it could be city, it could be state, it could be private corporations. Um, Schools, colleges, universities, hospitals, you name it. I mean, the list can go on. Some entities have goals to contract with women and minority businesses. So when they contract with you, they want to verify that you are a legitimate woman owned or minority owned business, because some of these contractors or some of these entities, some of their contracts have federal dollars on them. And so they want to make sure that they are working with the right businesses, because if something happens, and let's say they're not working with a legitimate woman owned or minority owned business, they could be at jeopardy of losing their funding.
Right.
And so this is where the verification comes in. So we make sure that a company is a legitimate woman owned, minority owned business. And let me just real quickly talk about the basic criteria. Um, the company needs to be at least 51% owned and controlled by a minority or a woman-owned business. And it can take up to two individuals to make that 51%. And they have to be the highest ranking officer in that business. They have to be a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, and be a small business and be a for-profit. We don't certify nonprofits.
Okay.
So they do have to be a for-profit business. So those are the basic criteria. And if they feel like that they meet that criteria, then there's an application process. Again, people are like, oh no, an application. But it's doable. I tell people it's doable. We're here to help people, as they're filling out the application. They can call us. We'll answer any questions that they have. But the application, there's a lot of paperwork to it.
Mhm.
It's verification. We're following a federal regulation and administering the program. And so it has already outlined what documents we need to look for in terms of verification of a woman or minority owned business. And then on top of the paperwork, we do a site visit.
Okay.
So again,
Mhm.
people get uptight about the site visit. So they're concerned. Oh no, what are you looking for? And again, it's just verifying that you own and you control the business. We want to see your workspace. We want to see, do you have the resources? Do you have the equipment, to do the work that you say that you do? So, I mean, it's just, everything's just about check and balance, verification. And then after that visit, we make a determination. And if you meet everything, then you'll be certified as a minority or women-owned business. Now, let me just throw out a few stats here for you. We probably certify about 60 to 70 companies a year. And in that year, we probably maybe only deny one or two companies. So there are companies that do get denial, and a lot of times it's just because they just didn't meet the criteria of the program. And a lot of times it falls within the ownership realm. Maybe they didn't purchase the company. The individual who's claiming the status didn't purchase the company, or just some kind of glitch in ownership and control. So, but 60 or 70 companies with one or two denials a year, that's pretty good. So basically, I'm just saying that most of the companies that apply, they make it through, and we help them through that process.
Do you have a sense? Okay, so if you say you certify 60 to 70 companies a year, do you have a sense of companies that may not, like, there are companies that exist, they are functioning companies, they would meet the criteria, but they haven't certified? And I'm sort of asking, I'm leading this question because I know you
Yes.
and I have been in conversations where it's like, if there's a big contractor coming in, like you said, you mentioned, they know, the company coming in knows they want to contract with women and minorities. And so when that comes through the state, right, since you and I both work for the state comes to the state and the company says, give me a list of 15 companies. So the 15 companies are going to be pulled from your list. Is good. We're going to say, who are the certified people?
Right.
Those people who show up are the ones who potentially are in the running to get other contracts. So can you just talk about the importance of actually getting
Oh,
certified?
yes. Oh my gosh. That's really, really critical, because what's happening is that, there could be some opportunities coming down the track, and we want to make sure that businesses are ready and able to be involved in some opportunities that that are coming up. And when I say opportunities, I mean, some of these opportunities are life changing.
Yeah.
Companies could be getting like $1 billion, $1 million, contracts. And
Yes.
so it's changing their lives, their families' lives, the community life. And so businesses just need to be ready. And I have seen it happen so many times where a company will sit and wait, not get certified because they don't see the value. And then all of a sudden, a contract will open up, and then they're scrambling to get the certification. And
Right.
then it's too late,
Yeah.
and they've missed out on the opportunity. And so it's like, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So I would just encourage everyone to go ahead, get your certification, because so that you're ready, you're on the rolls when opportunities come up, because it's almost too late to go through the process if somebody's knocking on your door today and needing you, because the process itself can take at 30 days to
Right.
get certified. And so that's, yeah, go
Well, I was
ahead.
gonna say, we have the link ready, the certificate. We have the site concerning certification. So Sierra, if you can drop that link, we have the link ready. So if there's a business owner who is thinking maybe I should get certified, look, follow that link again. It'll take you to
Yeah.
where the certification link is. And I want to stress, this is not a hypothetical. What she's talking about is not, oh, maybe there's going to be business opportunities. No, there are business opportunities that are literally arriving in Kansas on a daily basis, and those companies are coming in saying we would like to contract with women and minority companies.
Yes.
And since they're state contracts, they're asking us as state agencies to identify these companies. And so if you're not on the list, you're not on the list.
Right.
So please,
And
yes.
yes, and the other thing I want to stress too is some people think it's just for construction companies. It's not just for
Right.
construction. It's every industry that you can think about. If it's any kind of work that's involved in any kind of contracting process, you need to be certified. So I don't care if you're catering businesses, get certified. If you're a real estate business, get certified. Insurance company, get certified. All these different types of businesses need to get the certification, in addition to the construction companies, manufacturing companies. You need to get the certification so that way you're ready when these opportunities come up. And one other thing I should mention too is your business structure doesn't matter. You could be a sole proprietorship, you can be a corporation, an LLC, a partnership, as long as you, the owner, or the 51% owner, and you control that company, you can go through the certification process.
All right, thank you. Okay, so I did want to leave some space here. We're under 10 minutes, but to
Okay.
talk about upcoming events and opportunities, I know that there's the Minority Enterprise Development Awards, and we've got a link for nominations. So tell us about that. We'll put the link. So if you want to make nominations to the Minority Enterprise Development Awards, but talk to us about that opportunity.
Oh my gosh, this award is such a fun award. This is actually a national event put on by the U.S. Department of Commerce, and then each state will have their individual celebrations. So this is Kansas celebration of MedWeek, Minority Enterprise Development Week. So I believe this will be our 37th, if I got it right. I think it's our 37th year doing this, but it's a lot of fun because we get to recognize women and minority businesses that are doing great things out there. And, we just need to pat them on the back and say, hey, we see you and thank you for what you're doing. So right now the nominations are open. You can go to our webpage, nominate someone for this award. And actually it's 16 different awards that we give out. So we give them out in the categories of women owned and minority owned. So it's construction, retail, service, professional service, manufacturing. We have business advocates, a young entrepreneur, and also corporation of the year. So all these different awards. And so we want to make sure that we recognize the folks. And so once you submit the nomination, we'll contact your nominee and we'll get some additional information, and then we'll narrow it down, because this is a statewide award. So we get nominations from all over the state. And so we will select one winner for each group. And then there will be a final awards luncheon later on in the year that we will present each winner with their recognition award.
Fantastic. Yes. And then other opportunities, I know that you hold like workshop trainings, various.
Yes. Let's see. So at the end of the month, and I'll make sure I get this information to you, Stacy, but I'll be doing a workshop for the Small Business Administration, and it's specifically talking about certification. So I'll be going over everything about it so that you can learn more about it. And this will be a virtual workshop. So it'll be by Zoom. So once that registration opens up, I'll make sure we get that information out so that you can register. So if you want to learn more about it, the date for that workshop is going to be July 29th. And so when we get that, and I believe it's going to be around the lunch hour, I believe. And but I'll get that confirmed. And once that registration is open, we'll get that out. Because if you need that information, we want you to have it. And then also be on the lookout, because we're going to be also doing some workshops in Kansas City, Kansas, and Manhattan in the next few weeks moving forward. So again, just keep your eye out, because we're trying to hit all the cities and make sure that everybody is knowledgeable and know about the certification program, so that way we can get people registered as soon as we can.
Are those on your website, on the
we will make sure we put it on there.
Okay. Yes. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. There is a question in the chat. Is there ever a conflict when the words women or minorities come up? The perception is that non-minority women get the bulk of opportunities. Is that true? So this idea of women, it could be two different things.
Okay. Say the question again.
Is there ever a conflict with the words women or minorities?
No, for our program, and it could be different for different programs, but for our program, we have designations for women-owned and minority-owned. So if you are a woman-owned business, you can get the woman certification. And if you're a minority business, if you're also a minority, you can get the minority certification. So you can actually walk away with two designations, one for women and one for minority. And so, but again, that's how we do it with the state of Kansas, but it may be different in other states where there may be a differentiation, and you may have to pick one designation to choose from, whether it's woman-owned or minority-owned. And sometimes on a contract basis, sometimes contracts may be written where there are separate goals for women-owned and goals for minority-owned. And so when it comes to that point, you may have to pick which category. But again, it just depends on how that contract is written. So you really need to look at that once you start bidding on your contracts.
Yeah, better to be certified, to cover the bases.
Right.
There's a question that's directed towards me, not towards you. And it's about KAAAC town hall meetings. But today, for this half an hour, I'm really trying to focus on the Commerce Department and opportunities for the business opportunities in the Black community. The simple answer is, yeah, we have a town hall. It's in the plans right now. People in Wichita are working on getting that plan, so it's going to happen. But I'd like to bring the focus back to Rhonda and what we're talking about now. Just in our last couple of minutes, because we're almost at time. Every week, I do want to remind people that there is a special election coming up on August 2nd, dealing with a constitutional amendment in the Kansas Constitution. It's in the news. We all know that Roe v. Wade was overturned. Kansas is one of the states that did not have a trigger law that actually will go to the public to make a decision. And I've learned to change my way of speaking about this. It is a special election. It's not a primary. It's a special election. I make that distinction so that everyone knows that everyone is available to vote in this. If you are registered to vote, it does not matter your affiliation. If you are a Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you're a Libertarian, if you're unaffiliated, everyone is allowed to vote in this special election. You will need to get registered before July 12th in order to be available to vote in August 2nd. So we have the link dropped in here. You can make sure that you're registered or check your registration. If you have moved recently, just update your address, make sure everything's on the up and up. and to make sure that we actually weigh into this conversation with the constitutional amendment. Like I said, Kansas is one of the few states where there is nothing automatically triggered on Friday, so it's in the hands of the voters. One distinction to make is that the wording of the amendment says that if you vote yes, you're turning over the decision-making process to the Kansas legislature.
Mhm.
And so if you want the Kansas legislature with its current makeup and its current, if you want the Kansas legislature to make this decision for you and your family, then that would be a yes vote. If you think that decision should be left up to the woman, her partner, her doctor, her whatever she is deciding, then the answer is no. So that's what a yes no means and what a no vote means. So please make sure that you are registered to vote and check that. Okay, we are at time. I want to thank again Rhonda Harris here for coming and spending a half an hour with us talking about economic opportunities and business opportunities for the Black community, especially the certification process.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we spent so much time talking about that, and so that people can get certified, because it is true, business opportunities are coming to Kansas, and a lot of them do have, for lack of a better phrase, DEI, things that they're keeping an eye on. So please make sure you do get certified. All right. Thank you. Did you, any last words or?
Like you said, just get certified. If you have questions, feel free to call our office. We're here to help.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'll see everybody next week. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Stacy.